All right, hey everyone, welcome to a Zelda Speedrun Skyward Sword Randomizer tournament. We've got a twofer this time. It's gonna be MattStrats versus lepelog. I believe they're of Group 1, and CalmDownSam versus Deer of Group 2. These are both winner bracket round 2s, I think. On tracking today, we've got Pac-Man, Power Ghost, and Zeldex. And on comms, we've got 64-bit Link and Battle Cats. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Hello.
Yep, so these should be a couple of hype matches, and I look forward to it. So we have CalmDownSam and Deer were kind of unlucky enough to be drawn into the group with Jim and Exto, so they are going to be fighting it out for the potential of being the second to advance out of that group. Meanwhile, Lepe and Matt are in their winners finals, and winner will advance to the bracket. So we're still waiting for the runners to ready up, but any predictions on what trolley item locations we're gonna get today?
I want to know what required dungeons we have today.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. Like, we could do without seeing Sandship, I think, and I think everyone will agree with that. We've had way too many Sandship scenes recently. Got your average Link in chat's wanting a trial chain. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we could also have something on Levias. We could have something on Betro 50. Lots of ways to make the runners suffer. And to answer your question in chat, it is not possible to get Skykeep as a dungeon with the tourney settings.
There is a setting to be able to skip Skykeep, and in the tournament settings we have that on, so we're skipping Skykeep.
Yeah. Skykeep just unfortunately isn't really interesting in a randomizer context because there's like the only things that can be randomized in it right now are the small key chest and the map chest. And although getting the small key first is cool and makes it a little bit faster, it's still not enough to make it interesting. Which is unfortunate because there's a lot of really cool tech in Skykeep, but yeah, it's just not interesting for these tourney settings. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think like if there's a dungeon we've seen the least of. I feel like we haven't seen a lot. Like we've definitely seen Cistern a little bit, and I'd say like same with Fire Sanctuary. Those are kind of the dungeons that we haven't seen a ton of. So, like, I would not be against seeing a Cistern Fire Sanctuary seed. Fire Sanctuary routing in Rando is really interesting.
I don't
especially
remember.
where you can do a lot of skips and be able to have a lot of options at your disposal for routing that dungeon, depending on what items you enter with.
Yeah, there's a lot of different routes for Fire Sanctuary because you can do the bit routes with the bit warp and RBMs, or you can just go through it normally.
Yeah, and I mean, we have seen people go through the dungeon normally, although it is a little slow. But if you're not in go mode, and you know you have to full clear it, then sometimes that can be the way to go. And to answer a question in chat, there is hints that are like in development. They are not included in the tournament version. And the runners are off. So we'll be seeing in a second what the first item is that will be on Fledge, and we'll also be seeing what the required dungeons are.
In a way, Fledge sets the pace for the seed.
Yeah, well, unless he gives something like a red ruby. But nope, it's gratitude crystals. So we will likely see at least a couple of our runners heading to Betro on their first Skyloft trip. Also, Skyview Fire Sanctuary. So I got my wish for Fire Sanctuary at least.
Fire Sanctuary is not a fun dungeon when you're running, but spectating it's fun, so you can see how the runners route it.
So now checking the practice sword chest. And just a rare treasure. So yeah, you saw different items because basically in the pool there's basically items that can be a random rare treasure or a random semi-rare treasure. And then there are a couple fixed ones. There's a fixed monster horn in the pool, and there's a fixed tumbleweed in the pool. And then Howland's item. So we get the harp immediately. So that means we'll probably be checking Colin's letter on the first Skyloft trip. Also, looks like an Elden pillar in the background. So we start with one pillar open that's randomized, and in this seed it is the Elden pillar.
Also, getting harp this early could mean trials required.
Yep, and as I think Average Lake alluded to, that trial chains are a real possibility in these seeds. And getting bomb bag really early on that we just saw on Sam's side, that is going to be really nice for Elden.
Bomb bag only opens up one check in Elden currently, but it does make Elden a lot easier.
Yeah. And we also got a very early cursed medal. So that means that our runners are going to be unable to use their pouch until they talk to Beatrice to get rid of it. But they have to talk to Beatrice anyways, and Potion Lady has Spiral Charge. So that opens up 2 breakable rocks in the sky that have chests inside of them. And once we find Ballad of the Goddess, it will also open up Levias. And we've got one part of Song of the Hero. We won't know if that's required or potentially required or not until we get all 3 parts. Yeah, Matt and Lepe do seem to be ahead of everyone else at the moment.
Well, CalmDownSam did go to the goddess statue before everyone else, so that put him behind pace a little bit.
Okay, but so I guess like that means that CalmDownSam like technically is probably even because of it diverting to the goddess statue early. There's a few different routes for early Skyloft, and so some people prefer to go to the goddess statue right away, and Lepelog and Matt chose to do it later, doing the loading zone manip that you just saw Deer do, where he went off the platform slightly to the left. That causes him to load closer to the goddess statue, and he can just immediately land there. And yes, all 4 runners are on the same seed, but this is 2 separate races that are being played on the same seed. So we have MattStrats versus Lepelog and Sam versus Deer.
MattStrats is currently doing a file copy for BitMagic.
Yeah, so that will probably come into play later when they are able to do Skyview. It will make it a little bit faster to do a skip in Skyview. Lepelog is setting up for Colin's letter. You have to talk to the toilet hand at night, and then he will sleep today, and then he will see what Colin's letter item is. It's interesting that Matt did not do that, but Matt removing the cursed metal from his pouch, at the very least he won't have to deal with it. He won't have to think about the possibility of getting cursed metal for the rest of the seed. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be buying the bug net in this race. I think that is exclusively a Jaznix thing.
I personally have not seen anyone other than Jaznix buy the bug net.
Yeah. So Matt talking to Peter, Beatrice's dad. So there is a side quest involving Beatrice that requires talking to Beatrice a ton of times and sleeping in between each conversation, also talking to her dad twice. And there is an item behind that really long side quest that is Sphere 0. Did Matt actually fly out to Oriel? I guess not. So that's a little bit of a missed opportunity there for Matt, because if he had flown out and talked to Oriel first, he could have gotten Pero's item. And we see Lepe is leaving Skyloft, Sam and so Deer's heading to Betro. I don't know how many gratitude crystals he has, but it looks like Sam is trying to get 10 gratitude crystals so that he can check the first 2 Betro rewards. So you'll see runners like either just like skip Betro on their first on Skyloft 1 and hope that they find more gratitude crystals elsewhere. Did you catch what was on Betro 5?
It was a red rupee, so nothing useful.
Terribly important. But other runners, including myself, like to, if they have 5, just like get 5 individual crystals to get 10 so that you can check the first 2 Betro rewards. So Matt looks to be heading towards iDude's house. Unfortunately, missing his front hop and jumping off of Skyloft instead. Lepelog checking spiral charge rocks and getting a heart container from the one near Fun Fun Island. Probably gonna check the one near Lumpy Pumpkin.
While he's over near Lumpy Pumpkin, he can also stop inside Lumpy Pumpkin and see what is on top of the chandelier.
Yeah, and that can be a really important item, but I think especially when you have spiral charge, you kind of hope that item's junk, because otherwise you need to go through the long conversation to pick up the pumpkin soup when you can't even deliver it right now. And you don't know when you're going to get Ballad of the Goddess to be able to deliver it. But you're going to check it anyways, because it's possible it's... like, if it's your digging mitts or something, that's like your sign to go right to Eldin. I didn't catch what was on the chandelier, but Lepelog clearly wants it.
I believe it is gratitude crystals.
And Colin just having 5 bombs, which are kind of just wasted because the bomb bag that they got is already full. So, our runners ideally would like to find digging mitts before they head into Eldin. They'll probably go to Eldin eventually, even if they don't find digging mitts, but digging mitts will open up 7 more checks for them in Eldin. 2 in Magma Turf, and then the 5 Earth Temple key piece dig spots. Deer talking to iDude. Lepelog in the long conversation with Pum after breaking his chandelier. And Lepelog not getting I don't think he got the individual crystals in the Lumpy Pumpkin. There are 2 individual crystals besides the 5-pack that was on the chandelier.
A lot of runners tend to not try to get those crystals unless they really need it.
And yeah, it's one of those risk-reward things. Like, I tend to have the attitude that if I'm there, I might as well just get and I'm already getting the chandelier, I might as well just get those items, because or get those crystals because they're on path at that point, and I don't want to be forced to path back to Lumpy Pumpkin later in the event that I find out I need them for like Betro 40 or Betro 50. So Lepe is the first of our runners to actually go down to Eldin. Which I think is a reasonable play given that there is, even without digging mitts, there's a lot open in Eldin right now. Lepe getting past those two chews and making the lava cycle easily. And finding more gratitude. So we might be seeing Betro 30 sooner rather than later with how many gratitude crystals we've seen thus far.
Boutro 30, there's 2 checks there, one from Boutro, and then there's a check that you get when you get 30 crystals, which have a very high chance of having something that you need.
Yeah. In vanilla, it's the cursed metal chest. And we're already getting a sword upgrade. So our runners will need to, in order to beat the game, we'll need to find 3 sword upgrades. So that is the first one. So Lepe looks like he is going for the strat to drain the lava from basically that location, which is very precise, but it does save a lot of time if you can get it. And judging from the fact that Lepe just like immediately ran, it looks like he did get it.
It's not too difficult if you have the bomb bags, so he probably got it.
Yeah. And getting a beetle, that actually is another signal towards Betro 30 because that opens up a couple more individual crystals. Actually, it opens up 2. One in the sparring hall and one on Beetle's Island. And the Gust Bellows. So the Gust Bellows will open up Malara's cleaning crystals. And that's about it for now. So this Eldin has actually been fairly stacked. And also nice getting the Hylian shield early. I don't know if any of our runners have bought a shield yet. Maybe not if like there hasn't been many rupees, but if you literally get your Hylian shield before you even buy a shield, that's so nice because then you just don't even have to worry about it.
And the Hylian shield does not break unlike all the other shields, so it's very helpful for fighting in the endgame.
Yeah, although I mean, experienced runners should never break their shields, although that said, it can still happen, but like, if you, the window for shield bashes is extremely generous in this game, so it's, so for most experienced runners, like the wooden shield is perfectly fine, but having the Hylian shield is nice, and the Hylian shield just like looks really cool in this game. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, clearly.
So Sam just got more gratitude crystals from Boutro 10.
So I think at this point that means that Petro 30 is fully in logic.
Yeah, Sam is at 25 crystals currently.
And unfortunately, Lepe failing circles, but we forgive him because he is the creator of this awesome randomizer. Okay, so Sam's gonna head down to Eldon, Lepe leaving.
Lepe got quite a few items from Eldon that open checks on Skyloft, like the scale and the gust bellows, so we'll see what he does here.
Yeah, so he has opened to him now shed chest. He has cleaning crystals. He's always had Beatrice open, and also Betroth 30. Oh, it seems like Deer got a song from Pero. I didn't see what it was.
It was another part of the Song of the Hero, so we already have 2 parts.
Okay, so it's always like interesting when you get early Song of the Hero parts, because you start to like be a bit monk-ass and think, am I gonna have to do this trial?
It's CalmDownSam trying to bomb the Pyro. Oh, he has the cutscene anyway.
Yeah, because he jumped down too early. The weird thing about this Pyrup cutscene is, so like the Pyrup has a really slow death animation. You need to wait for the death animation to complete for the cutscene trigger to go away. Or as you just saw Sam do, he will, the cutscene will play anyways, and you just kind of see a camera pan with no Pyrup. Which, while funny, it does waste time.
Lepe is getting loose gratitude crystals, so we will probably see Boutro 30 from Lepe soon.
Yeah, because it seems like that is where our progression most likely is. Or at least some of it anyways. Interesting that... Okay. Never mind, Lepe wasn't quite... I thought Lepe was somewhere other than where he was, but no, this makes perfect sense. So I'm going to check this shed chest on the way to Betro. And I think optimally you go to Betro and then you do cleaning crystals after. Also getting Colin's letter, so Lepe has another fetch quest available to him. So Lepe getting this last individual crystal, I think it was trying... Oh, Lepe only has 25.
He must be missing a 5-pack or 2.
Yeah, like what did Sam get that Lepe would not have? Or
Sam might have gotten 10 loose crystals, but I wasn't. I'm not sure. Wasn't exactly watching.
yeah. My judge, like my kind of perception is that like Lepe is definitely mechanically the strongest runner out of these four. And Sam is also a very experienced runner. And then Matt is relatively new to the community, but has really impressed me with his level of play. And Deer's also a relative newcomer to the community who's less experienced, but definitely has a lot of ability to improve and has definitely impressed us thus far with some of the things he's been able to do. Okay, so Lepe, I missed what was on Betroth 30.
I also missed it. But the 5 crystals that Lepe was missing were the crystals for Butro 10.
Okay, Lepe getting whip off the cursed metal chest. That's not really required for either of our dungeons, although it will make it faster to get one check in Skyview. It does open up most of Skipper's Retreat though, which is a thing that a place that I think a lot of people would rather not have to go. All right. Okay. So I guess from what I'm hearing from chat, I guess Betroth 30 had another crystal pack. Because if I remember right, Betroth 10 had a crystal pack, so that opened up 30, which had another crystal pack. So lepelog doing cleaning crystals, I think, as I kind of mentioned before, this is I think is the optimal routing because then you can sleep today in Malara's house, and you can avoid leaving Malara's house at night, which gives you an extra text box. Actually, I think it gives you 2 extra text boxes. And although it's instant text in the randomizer, which is a very, very nice quality of life change from vanilla, you'd still like to avoid as many unnecessary text as you can. I saw Nehru's Wisdom. I didn't see if it was required or not.
Unfortunately, it was not too important.
Ah, rip. No Lanayru trial today. I am sad. So interestingly, Matt going to the temple entrance in Elden, even though there's nothing he can really do there yet, I suppose he thinks that if by doing that he can just land when he gets digging mitts, he can land there later and thus route a little more optimally. Or if he gets claw shots, he can go right there to get iDude's crystal ball. Sam is searching for the one speck of dust on the floor that I think he ran like all to the opposite side of the room from the where it is. Okay, he sees it now. Yeah, the cleaning crystals, like you have to get literally all of the dust. And if you miss anything, then it's still or you still have to get the rest of it.
It's very easy to miss that one tiny speck of dust.
Yeah. I think this is kind of one thing where like 100% runners will have a little bit of an advantage because you have to do it in 100%, so you get plenty of practice. But yeah, we've got a lot of B items, and bombs are really nice, but like ideally, like we would get the Farron or Lanayru pillars where bombs can open up a little bit more for us. That's, I think, like, we'd rather see the Farron pillar than the Lanayru pillar. Just because the Farron pillar will open up a required dungeon for us. And Lanayru is just, like, although it has high check density, it's also just kind of, and it's just, it has some pockets of high item density, I should say, but it also is just, like, really... There's also a lot that's really spread out, and you, like, committing to the full Lanayru clear is kind of a bit annoying.
Lepe getting a baby rattle from Pipit, which means the side quest goes to another side quest.
Yep, fetch quest chain it is. Like, I hear you like fetch quests, so here's a fetch quest for your fetch quest. So, Matt, thinking for a bit before deciding to make it night. I don't know if he's done the Collins letter check yet.
There's not that many checks left on Skylot for Lepe, so he's doing the baby rattle quest now.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much else open besides that, Beatrice, and I'm struggling to think of anything else. I guess picking up a ton more individual crystals. Din's power, you might need what it reveals.
I want to see Lepe go straight to the trial here, because that is a fairly decent play right now, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's just, I think a lot of players are going to be very reluctant to go to Elden Trial, because it is one of the slowest checks in the game. Like, it is easily the slowest of the 4 trials. That said, there's not a whole lot else open, so... I mean, the only other thing you can really do is Beatrice, and that's also a slow check. Yeah. Like, Lepe still has a bit to go on the Beatrice quest. But looks like Lepe may be committing to Beatrice. But yeah, at this point, like, there's not a like our runners are pretty bottlenecked.
Right now, Beatrice would probably take the same amount of time as Elden Trial would. Maybe a little bit longer, but not much.
Yeah. So I think basically what it is, there's a tablet behind one of these checks. Like, there has to be at this point. I guess there doesn't have to be, but it just feels like that is what the seed is leading towards.
It was either a tablet or digging mitts.
Yeah, that is another possibility because, yeah, again, digging mitts would open up 7 more checks, and the dig spots have a tendency to be stacked.
And even though Beatrice and the Elden Trail are very long checks, we've seen them have required items before, such as our last seed. We had Whip on Elden Trail, which was required.
Yep. And I think we've also, most of us have seen the race of Jaznix versus Harm, where Specs was like losing his mind over the runners avoiding Beatrice when it was plainly clear that the progression had to be there. Luckily, that doesn't quite seem to be the case this time, but it's also because there's not really much else that the runners really have the capability to do to get around it. With just Elden open, there's not really as much opportunity for sequence breaking. But interestingly, we do see Sam getting one of the individual crystals that's locked by Beetle. So if it turns out that it's actually Betrow 40 that has the progression and not Beatrice or Elden Trial, then that could be really huge for Sam.
And Butcher 40 has a much higher chance of having progression than the other two. Or I guess Elden Trial might, since we know that it has something good.
Yeah, I mean, there's also, like, if you think about it, like, progression-wise, like, is there anything that could be on the Elden Trial that we would not want at this point? Because even if it's a gratitude crystals, technically our runners are still looking for gratitude crystals. Granted, there's probably faster places to get gratitude crystals, but you also don't necessarily know if like that is the gratitude crystal pack that is going to bottleneck you. It could also be a bottle, and if it's the first bottle, then that may also be required to get the 2 more items from the Oriel and Pero quest.
Also, Lepe finishing Beatrice and getting the slingshot.
Yeah, Slingshot unfortunately not really doing much for us. It doesn't unlock anything that we wouldn't have had access to via Beetle or one of our other items anyways. Actually, just Beetle. But it is convenient to have. Like, especially because we don't have bow or claw shots yet. So Sam is really committing to the Betrow 40. Hopefully he makes it, because he did bonk the Beetle.
Oh, just barely makes it.
Yeah. Actually, it's interesting. He's doing it from here, which I have not really seen before. But, like, usually I will go for it from over, like, by the waterfall cave entrance. Okay, this is not going to work, I don't think. Or it's going to be extremely tight.
Yeah, that's not going to be close enough.
Yeah, unfortunately, like the regular Beetle's range is not really that great. And Lepe is heading to the Elden Trial. So is the first to do so, and if this is our tablet or mitts or whatever progression, this will be huge for Lepe. Looks like Lepe missed harp cancel. Is gonna have to play the harp again. If he gets harp cancel this time, he will still save a small amount of time over not doing harp cancel at all. But if he misses it again, then he's just losing time. Okay, looks like he either failed it late or didn't attempt it. Yeah, if you get harp cancel, it saves like 30 seconds because you get to skip this whole cutscene of Fi singing, as well as some Fi text afterwards. Sam is still going for that gratitude crystal. So he's making a huge commitment towards Betrow 40, and we will see if it pays off. And unfortunately, giving up on the beetle and running through Waterfall Cave, which is unfortunate. It is definitely possible to pick up that crystal with the beetle, but it is tricky. You kind of have to be positioned in the right place because, again, the regular beetle's range is not all that great. If you're able to upgrade it to tough beetle, then its range is much further, but we start in Randomizer with a blank file that has no treasures on it, so upgrading it is absolutely not worth. Sam showing some frustration by just like spinning around in circles after getting it. Yeah. So I know Lepe has done this trial a million times. Winds up picking up a light fruit there. In this trial, like, you're going to pick up a light fruit eventually. It's really hard to dodge all of them. So I guess, like, you try to pick one up that's not gonna mess up your movement. But yeah, so we should hopefully be seeing some really clean movement here from Lepe. Yeah, Matt about to be disappointed by Beatrice. I mean, I guess maybe disappointed is the wrong word, because he needs, or he doesn't need the slingshot, but the slingshot will definitely speed things up until he gets either bow or claw shots, which will fully obsolete it.
You could use the beetle to hit switches and stuff, but the slingshot is much faster since the beetle flies very slowly.
Yeah. So Sam... Okay, so... that is so unfortunate. Sam spending all that time collecting all the single crystals only to get more crystals from Betrow.
You hate to see it. That's very unfortunate for
Yeah.
CalmDownSam.
Sam has to be furious at this point.
So that means that our progression is probably going to be on Elden Trial.
Yep. Which puts Lepe firmly in the lead and Matt, like, right behind him. Since he is also making the play for the trial. Now, if this turns out to be gratitude crystals, though, that is actually probably best case scenario for Sam, because that means that Betrow 50 is the logical progression, and that means everyone will also have to sink the time to collect individual crystals.
Also, Matt got Harp Cancel, unlike Lepe, so that saved him quite a bit of time over Lepe, but not much.
Yeah. Now Sam probably going for Harp Cancel, I would imagine.
Deer getting 3 gratitude crystals in a row from Betrow.
Yeah. It's one of those feels bad. Oh, Sam recalibrating, I guess he wasn't happy with how the game was registering as harp playing.
Claw shot.
Okay. That opens up iDude crystals. Or I guess like iDude's reward. As well as the baby rattle check on Skyloft and Zelda's closet check on Skyloft. But yeah, claw shots, out of all the items in the game, like claw shots opens the most by far. But unfortunately, right now we're kind of in the region of the game where claw shots probably matters the least.
When you have Lineru, it's very important.
Yeah. And even Farron, MattStrats not quite having enough stamina to get across the bone bridge. Sam manages to enter the trial. Deer is still working away at Beatrice. Lepe is going to be fetching iDude's crystal ball.
Claw shots were French vanilla, they were just on the wrong trial.
Yep, and to anybody new tuning in, so this is 2 1v1 races being run on the same seed. So we have MattStrats versus Lepelog and Sam versus Deer. And the Matt versus lepelog match is the winners finals for Group 1, and the Sam versus Deer is the first round of the losers bracket for Group 2. And Lepe finding a gold rupee on the baby rattle location. Oh no, Matt shorted his jump, landing in the waking water. He was trying to do a skip there where you can do a jump off of that bit of collision to jump over that waking water. That said, like, you're pretty safe on this sand slide as long as you move correctly, so you should be able to pick up this tier no problem. And unfortunately spending like most of the remaining part of this trial with the Guardians awakened, but again, he's in a fairly safe place, and as long as he keeps out of range of this Guardian, yep, he's safe. That's not to say it wasn't monk-ass, but like, that is the that's where you use the "this is fine" emotes.
Lepe got Ballad of the Goddess, but I wasn't paying attention to where it was.
Yeah, probably Zelda's. Well, it has to be either Zelda's Closet or iDude's Reward. Now, what's interesting here is, so we have Spiral Charge, we have Ballad of the Goddess. That means that Levias is in Logic. And we'll see if any of our runners decide to go for that check. Because we have seen it be required progression in the past. We have also seen it be complete trash in the past. Lepe doing the Isle of Songs puzzle. Not pushing it one time too many, unlike the mistake I made in my race. Is Deer having some issues with his nunchuck? He keeps reconnecting it. This part of the trial is just really difficult to just get around these watchers, but Deer manages it just fine. Like, there's a lot of specific movement you need to do it optimally. Oh, what you were saying?
Yeah, Lepe got some pretty useless stuff in the Thunderhead.
Okay, yeah. So Thunderhead thus far, not really much use, but Levias is still a thing. So there is still one check remaining. Although,
and there's one check still in the Isle of Songs.
Yeah, but they will need another sword upgrade to get that. So Deer's not quite doing the standard route for this trial, but probably just looking to get through the parts of the trial that he considers to be most difficult first. Okay, so it was Dude crystals because we're seeing Leppy check Zelda's closet now. And the paperweight. Because Stone of Trials is completely useless in these settings.
Yeah, if we were not skipping Skykeep, that would be required, but since we are skipping Skykeep, that is useless.
Yeah. Yeah, also, if we had Entrance Randomizer, then it would be potentially useful, but Entrance Randomizer is not a thing in the tourney version. So Lepe, I think, has 50 crystals or close to it. We'll see. No, 45. So our runners are still stuck on 45 crystals.
If Sam goes to the Thunderhead, he will have 50, so we can see what Mature 50 has if Sam checks it.
Yeah. So what we haven't seen yet, Levias, Betro 50. Is there anything else we haven't seen?
Not that I can think of.
Now Sam's dropping off the crystal ball, so he did talk to iDude. But yeah, I mean, it's okay. So Lepe is just going for individual crystals at this point to hit 50, which I think is reasonable, because that is the shortest of the checks he has remaining. And I know that Lepelog has been vocal in the past about how he will always last location Levias, but like the signs are kind of pointing there. And Matt has the pumpkin soup. I think, well, yeah, our runners would have had to fetch the pumpkin soup anyways, specifically, unless they didn't pick up the crystal ball. So, like, going back to Lumpy Pumpkin is kind of just, at this point, like, committing to doing Levias. Yeah, so Lepelog standing where I would to get these two crystals at the waterfall, so hopefully he will have less trouble with this than Sam did earlier.
Now at this point, all runners have done the Elden Trial and gotten the claw shots.
Yep. I mean, the seed kind of was bottlenecked at the claw shots anyway, so it's impossible to avoid it. Which, I mean, having a linear seed like this is really good for, like, the experienced runners who have better movement because the seed's basically like pointing a neon sign at where you need to go, and you just have to, and so the player with the better execution is going to be faster to get there. But Matt looks to be making the play to Levias. We're going to hope that he does, at the very least, drop off the pumpkin soup, so that Scrapper is open to pick up other things.
So, since Lepe has 50 crystals now, we will see what Boutreau has for his 50 crystal reward.
Yeah.
So if the next progression is on Levias, then Matt will probably be in the lead. But if it's on Boutreau 50, Lepe will be in the lead.
Yeah. That said, like, the Levias fight is relatively long, and, it's, like, execution on the Levias fight could also make a huge difference.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
said, Lepe is going to have to pick up the pumpkin soup again in order to deliver it, so that's going to consume a ton of time. So we have a key that's useless on there, and semi-rare treasure in Isle of Songs, neither of which are required or even useful.
And we got the Amber tablet on Boutreau 50. So we'll probably see Lepe go straight to Lineru.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that Levias is blank just yet, but we at least have progression now. And now that Lineru is open, this seed kind of just opened wide, because there's several directions you could go right off the bat in Lineru. Okay, so Matt is committing to the Levias fight. I mean, I do not think this is an unreasonable play, especially since Matt is in a 1v1 versus Lepe, who has been vocal about how he will last location progression on Levias. So, like, this is the smart play for Matt. Unfortunately, this means that he is going to be last in his 1v1 to the Linear tablet. But if there happens to also be progression on Levias, this could be huge advantage to Matt, because now Lepe has absolutely zero incentive to go to Levias.
For Rory's Courage, unfortunately not too important, so we won't be seeing Farron Trial.
Yeah, well, we still have the possibility of Skyloft Trial. Lepe whipping the keys to one-hit kill them. I like seeing all these, like, little uses of whip. I feel like whip is a little bit of an underappreciated item. Lepe not being trolled by the electric shoes. Also choosing to whip the time shift stone. I don't think I've seen that before.
We'll see what Levias has after the long Levias death cutscene.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Deer triggering the Pipit cutscene outside Malara's house. Ideally, you try to path so that you avoid that trigger, but yeah, I think he wanted the stamina fruit, and unfortunately, that stamina fruit is within the range of that trigger. And, well, that's not terrible for Matt, but unfortunately, Lepe will be completely rewarded for not doing Levias.
Yeah, collecting loose crystals is definitely faster than doing Levias.
Yeah. So I'll say, like, the play, like, winds up kind of, like, I would say it's not, like, yeah, the gratitude crystals are nice for Matt, but unfortunately for Matt, like, because Lepe already has 50 crystals, like, it doesn't give him any advantage. Sam, I don't know how many crystals Sam has. Does he still have 45?
I think he's at 50, actually.
Okay, then he'll be furious with this Betrow reward. Din's power is claw shots for trial hints. Sam looks like taking some damage, probably unintentionally, from Levias, but in the last phase. So yeah, at this point, all eyes on Lepe because he is finding new checks for us. And also maybe a bit onto Sam to see his reaction to the 5 crystals that is awaiting him on Levias. So Lepe talked to Dodo a long time ago and is now going to pick up his party wheel, netting him 1 check when he returns to the sky. And fire shield earrings in the party wheel chest.
Earrings are required for this seed because to get to Fire Sanctuary, which is a required dungeon, you need to go through Volcano Summit, which you need the Fire Shield earrings to get through.
Yep. It also opens up one check on Volcano Summit. But we still don't have access to Fire Sanctuary itself. We need a bottle for that. And plus, we need a bunch of items to be able to clear Fire Sanctuary in Logic. Yeah, so Lepe doing kind of the optimal thing for opening up the Hook Beetle check, where he climbs up onto that crate, tosses the bomb into where the time shift zone is, and then jumps over to get the chest.
So Sam just got the Amber Tablet from Butchero, and Matt is about to get the Amber Tablet.
So, interesting that Lepe is not going right to Fire Node, which is probably the play I would make from Hook Beetle. That said, he cannot clear all of Fire Node right now, but because he lacks Hook Beetle. He is, however, making the decision to open up a Water Node immediately, even though he cannot, at the moment, get all 3 nodes. So, Lepe gonna check the Claw Shot Lock chest near the Lightning Node. Matt and Sam are now in Linearu.
Have we gotten anything useful in my neighbor yet?
The Fire Shield earrings, I think, is the only one that I think we've gotten thus far. But each of these nodes has 3 checks that Lepe can get right now. There are 2 checks in Fire Node, which is not this one, that he will need Hook Beetle for.
And he should end up finding Hook Beetle anyway, because I believe that Hook Beetle is required for Fire Sanctuary.
Yeah, it is potentially required, and well, it's required for the full clear, and if they're in go mode, it depends on where the boss key is. And that's where all the RBMs that you can do may potentially come into play, because you can bit warp past the Hook Beetle requirement, but you skip 4 chests by doing that. That said, I feel like recently Hook Beetle has had like a habit of showing up in the nodes or nearby the nodes. Or at least I've found, like, in general, that, like, Hook Beetle and Claw Shots tend to, like, lock the other one. But we have just found Digging Mitts, which now means that there's a total of 8 checks that are open in Elden.
We might see Lepe dip to Elden once he's finished getting the checks in the Nehru.
Yeah, although I feel like Lepe probably wants to at least be thorough in Desert. The one thing I could see him do is maybe to put off doing Fire Node. Now that, especially, he's gotten 2 pieces of progression. Because that bottle is also progression, and he can technically enter Fire Sanctuary now, although he will be gated by Hook Beetle and Magma Mitts. So I don't think dipping Fire Sanctuary would be the right play right now. Lepe still having iframes there, trying to do the Death Warp. Yeah, Deer, unfortunately, significantly behind, having just gotten his Amber Tablet. Yeah. Hylian Chill was very early on. It was in the first trip to Elden.
Deer is finishing up Patrice now, or at least like really close to finishing it up. But he will be disappointed with the slingshot.
Yeah. Deer being very thorough. Which, while it means that he is not going to miss anything, it also is kind of unfortunate because it's putting him behind. Sam forgetting to blow up the boulder that's in the way, so is going to have to take another minecart ride. So we'll see what Lepe decides to do when he gets to Fire Node, because he could choose to dip it for the 3 items there, or choose to just leave Lanayru at that point. Lepe is choosing to do what he can of Fire Node, which I think is the right play. Yeah, Yeah, Lepe knows he's the more experienced runner in his matchup, so he is going to try to be thorough, knowing that he can get more checks done faster than his opponent.
Deer rolling into Beatrice to make her mad for making him mad.
We've got close to simultaneous Fire Shield Earrings pickups from Sam and Matt.
The song of the hero is now complete. You might need what it reveals.
Yep, I'm sure Lepe is excited about that one.
So we might be seeing Skyloft Trial from at least one runner today.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, like, Skyloft Trial is much more of a gamble than the Elden Trial was, because when we were doing the Elden Trial, it was like our only check left, and like no matter what it was, we could possibly need it. On the other hand, for the Skyloft Trial has a significantly higher chance to be junk because there's still some 5-packs in the pool that we don't need. And there's also 4 more bottles that you don't need. So there's a bit more of a gamble there. But as has also been pointed out, like, doing the trial is a gamble, but also not doing the trial is a gamble.
So Lepe is in the Leneru Caves, and he might be going to Sansi here, actually.
Yeah, this is interesting. So there are 7 checks in Sansi, and Lepe might just be thinking, okay, Sansi is entirely open to me, so I might as well just do it. But we've oftentimes seen Sansi be barren, and it's kind of slow, and although, like, the individual areas have decent item density, like, you still have to slowly sail between them. So Matt could potentially gain a bunch of time on Lepe by choosing to gamble that Sansi is barren and just dipping out with all the items that he is going to get from Lightning Node.
Yeah, so it looks like Lepe is just checking the statue so that he can come back to Sansi in case that he needs something from Sansi.
Yeah, I think that is a reasonable play. Because, yeah, so that way he's set up to go there should he need to. And if he does, but he doesn't commit to clearing it right now when there are a bunch of faster checks to get in Elden. And we're getting a sword from Dodo. So he is one sword upgrade away from having all of them. And now the question is, will he dip Thunderhead for the Din's power check, which has been sword in the past, and it looks like he will. That also means he is like full committing to isolating Levias, which we know he does not need to do, but he does not know. Lepe got his white sword. Or well, his second progressive sword. And this Din's power check has been a progressive sword before, or other kinds of progression. It actually has a fairly high chance of being progression, but today it's junk. Now, I think in a lot of other circumstances, runners would save scum that check, but because of when he got White Sword and the fact that he's pathing from Lanayru Pillar to Elden Pillar, I think it's reasonable just to do the check normally and just accept that he has to fly out, even though that check was junk. The increased Loftwing speed does also mean that this isn't nearly as bad as it would be in the vanilla game. So Lepe is actually not heading to the Elden Pillar right away. He's instead going to check Oriel and Pero's items, which I think is reasonable. Lepe just wants to be thorough. And like, if this winds up being a sword upgrade, then it puts him that much closer to go mode. Nope. Oriel just has junk.
So we'll see if Pero also has junk. Because doing that quest opens up Oriel's crystals and Pero's crystals.
Matt have unfortunately knocking that.
We almost saw a Skylove Trail, but lepelog was just trolling.
Yeah. Did we see what Pero's item was? I was looking at another runner.
It was a small quiver.
The dig spot locations. But yeah, I think Lepe skipping the Skyloft trial for now is reasonable. He knows that he has much more item density elsewhere, and there's still a pretty high chance that there's a useless item on that trial. So he may be thinking he'll get back to it when he's eliminated some of the bottles or other gratitude crystal packs from consideration. Also, I really like the play of throwing the bomb at that pirate flame to blow it up immediately. And he gets the Beetle's Beetle.
Beetle might have another beetle today.
So Matt looks to be heading up to Sansi. We'll see if he makes the same play that Lepe did of just dipping or after checking the harbor statue, or if he decides to commit to the Sansi full clear. So this is two 1v1 matchups being run on the same seed. We have MattStrats versus lepelog and Sam versus Deer. And Matt versus lepelog is the winners finals for Group 1. And Sam versus Deer is the first round of the losers bracket for Group 2. Well, Lepe has found the validation tumbleweed and runs around in a circle in probably a combination of celebration and frustration of validating his run.
The Master Sword on the dig spot.
Yep, so Lepe knows he's done hunting for swords, which is really nice. Because it feels bad to be go mode minus swords. Because swords can be literally anywhere, so being able to basically have your go mode be something else means that the places you have to look are a lot more limited. So our runners need a lot more than a Farron tablet, depending on what is or where the Fire Sanctuary boss key is. So I don't know at what point we'll see a runner dip into Fire Sanctuary, but to full clear Fire Sanctuary, we need, in addition to what we have right now, Hook Beetle and Magma Mitts.
Although there is a chance that those items are not needed if the runners go out of logic and the boss key is there.
Yeah. And Lepe will probably make that call. Because I know that lepelog is very familiar with all the different RBMs and the bit warps that you can do in Fire Sanctuary. I don't know how comfortable the other runners are. Yeah, one more check. Check the one check on the slope. Okay, so he did dip into the Volcano Summit loading zone so he could death warp back here. Master Sword was in the last Earth Temple key piece dig spot. Specs with the bold prediction of Farron Tablet in Skyloft Trial. It is certainly a possibility.
So it looks like Lepe is either going to go into Fire Sanctuary or he's just going to check the statue outside Fire Sanctuary to come back later.
Yeah, I think both would be a reasonable plan. It kind of depends on how thorough he wants to be, but I'd almost imagine he'll dip in to check the back. So he may do the RBM to spawn in the map chest and then do the bit warp so that he can do all the back of Fire Sanctuary checks. And then if he happens to find the boss key, then he can just go ahead and finish the dungeon. If he doesn't, then he will probably leave and then go looking for Hook Beetle and or Magma Mitts. Or a Farron Tablet, which would put him into a whole wild goose chase into Farron. I predicted right, and Lepe is going to go ahead and check the statue outside of Fire Sanctuary before heading in. And yeah, it's taken us a while to get into our first dungeon, like over an hour and a half, but since the Emerald Tablet has not shown its face yet, and also interesting that Lepe is choosing to check the first couple of chests. So there's a chest in this room that is guaranteed to have a small key. And then there's the second chest. And that's all that he can check in the front for now. Matt, meanwhile, is making the play into the Skyloft trial, which could potentially be huge. Sam also making the same play. So Lepe just getting a pouch upgrade. And I guess Sam left? I guess I was looking at his screen and it looked like he was opening the trial, and then I was looking at Lepe and then I looked back and he was flying elsewhere. Okay, so Lepe is not going to gamble on the back of Fire Sanctuary. This is probably the play of Lepe, just assuming that because he is the more experienced runner in his matchup, that he can just full clear the seed faster than his opponent. And I don't think that's unreasonable. But I guess we'll have to see where the Fire Sanctuary boss key winds up. And also where the Farron tablet winds up, because there is still the possibility that Farron tablet could be Hook Beetle locked in Fire Sanctuary. That may also be what Lepelog is thinking right now, and why he's not willing to take the risk. Matt, unfortunately, stepping in Waking Water in a really precarious place, but he should be fine. Yeah, he can pick up this tier, and now... Okay, he has escaped what I consider to be like the worst Watcher in the Skyloft trial, and should be fine to complete it. Lepe dropping off Beetle's Beetle. Getting a life medal, not what Lepe is looking for.
It could be helpful for a horde since it does give you an extra heart, but it's not that helpful overall.
Yeah. And honestly, like, if you're looking for items to help you with horde, like, a bottle is probably, like, the best thing you can get. But, I mean, I guess, like, every heart container you can get will help make it a little bit safer.
Speaking of bottle, Matt just got a bottle from the Skyloft trial.
Okay, and then Lepe is going to be doing the same exact thing. And the worst part of it is he could have used that bottle to make getting to Fire Sanctuary slightly faster. I mean, it still doesn't make up for the time spent doing the trial by any means, but Lepe will probably be very irritated with the timing of getting that second bottle.
Also, it would have went to the item check, so it would have had to go and talk to Beatrice, which would have been slower than just using one bottle to enter Fire Sanctuary.
Yeah, that's also a fair point.
So does that mean that Sansi is going to have our next progressive item?
It seems like it. I'm trying to think of like where else is in logic, and there's... We can't enter Farron. We've cleared everything we can in Elden. So that means it has to be Sansi. Unless there's some check on Skyloft I'm not thinking of.
Gear was not so happy to see the tumbleweed, but his run is now validated.
Unfortunately, Lepe not getting the fast cycle on this Watcher. We'll see if he gets the good cycle from this next watcher, but he barely made it. Yeah. The thing with Skyward Sword is it's sometimes hard to express frustration in this game. Apart from like you have sword slashes and bombs. Like I've done a lot of Link to the Past rando, and there you have things like the Quake medallion, which is really funny to use to express frustration. But there's no real equivalent of that in this game. I mean, bombs are pretty good, but then you're also using a finite resource. Lepe finishing off the Skyloft trial and will be not happy with what he finds. We'll see if we get any reaction from Lepe after he leaves. Nope. Lepe doesn't have time for memes.
So, trial hints, if it says that it's required, also CalmDownSam buying the bug net. But if it says that it is required, it can also be gratitude crystals or an empty bottle, since a bottle opens up 2 checks in the sky and it opens up Fire Sanctuary, which could be required.
Yeah, so progression items are basically defined as anything that can open up another check, and so trials can also have a fetch quest item that leads to nothing, and it will say possibly required. And Lepe is going to Sansi, which I believe is the only place remaining where our progression can be.
We could see Matt do the bit warps and RBMs.
Levias is gratitude crystals. We already saw that from other runners. So Lepe will not be checking Levias because he will check because he will find progression here. Sam is returning for his arch nemesis, the Trial Gate. So we need Hook Beetle and Magma Mitts to be able to finish Fire Sanctuary. And we also need the Emerald Tablet to be able to get into Farron to both do Skyview and finish the game. Yeah, Sam's still having problems with the harp controls. And the ironic thing is, it would be better for him if he did give up on this trial, which he doesn't know if he does manage to do this, which I'm sure he will, and then he goes ahead and come on, Sam, you can do this. And he manages to open the trial and gets harp cancel. So,
We found
despite
Magma Myth.
okay, so Magma Myth's on the first check in Skipper's Retreat. Skipper's Retreat, like, I feel like a lot of rando runners just really dislike Skippers. There's a lot of really cool tech in Skipper's Retreat, but it's also very cycle based, and Leppy doing one of these tricks here. I was really scared he was going to be late on that claw shot and get owned by the Deku Baba, but fortunately he did not.
And the Hook Beetle.
So, immediately pulling out the Hook Beetle. Skipper's Retreat is stacked. But yeah, so now Lepe trying, unfortunately does not make this cycle. The thing with Skipper's Retreat is, like, all your movement in Skipper's Retreat, you're trying to be as fast as possible so that you can make this early cycle, which Lepe was unable to, in part because he had to go back. He had to go and get the one Ruins chest that in speed runs you would normally skip, which already throws the cycle a little bit off. Okay. But the Sea Chart chest not having anything good. Looks like Deer, though, already making the play towards Sand Sea. Okay, and Lepe getting the full heal. So at this point, Lepe has everything he needs to full clear Fire Sanctuary. So he might just decide to leave and do that, and just hope that he finds his Emerald Tablet in Fire Sanctuary. And that is what he is doing. So at this point, Deer is going to be taking the lead over Sam as soon as he gets his 2 items from Skipper's Retreat. I mean, Lepe is 1 item from Go mode.
Yeah, he just needs the Farron tablet and then he's in Go mode.
So it is kind of a, like, he basically has a decision between do Pirate Stronghold, which may have the Farron tablet or may be a complete waste of time, or do Fire Sanctuary, in which he knows he has to do anyways.
Oh no, Sam. He had 1 tier left, but got bodied by the Guardian.
That's very unfortunate. Sam is going to try again.
He's going to be very, furious at the bottle.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, as much as like I hate to say it, like I'm interested to see his reaction to getting it. Yeah, Sam not quite doing the standard route for this trial.
You only need to push that box 3 times because then you could just sprint jump off of it and jump into the tier.
Yeah, but he was also kind of pushing it from the other side, and the Watcher cycle was not where it usually would be. Okay, Lepe is skipping the bottle check, which makes me think that once he opens the Magma Mitts check, he is probably going to Death Warp and check and just bit warp to the back of the dungeon. Because then he can get the bottle chest for free along the way by going through an unloaded room. Okay, no, he is turning around and actually doing the bottle check the intended way, which tells me that he's probably just going for the full clear. Or, well, obviously he's going for the full clear, but he's going for, like, the standard intended strats. Which I do find interesting. Like, I think if I was in this situation, I would probably do the play of checking things up to Magma Mitts and then, or the Magma Mitts chest, and then Death Warp back and do the Bit Warp. Deer is the second runner to get Magma Mitts. Okay. Sam does get by that Watcher this time. Just has like this one Watcher to get by, and then he should be safe.
He has a good cycle on the light tower, so he'll be fine.
Okay. Now we are going to see Sam's reaction to getting a useless for him item on this trial. Matt going for the claw shot strat, but not quite getting it. Lepe getting the hook beetling his own bomb. the Wii menu, home menu reset, jib bait from Sam. Sam is furious right now. Matt, interestingly enough, It looked like he was intentionally death warping. I don't know that I agree with that strat. Because, like, he's still missing Emerald Tablet, so I feel like in his position, you finish clearing that area because although we know that there's nothing there, that there's nothing in those last two checks, he doesn't, and that's going to be hanging over his head.
Lepelog getting a cool jump slash there to water the frog from below.
How many bottles are we at now? I think this is bottle number 4.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, these checks are junk. So Matt is making the same play as Lepe, so... And as long as Matt keeps following in Lepe's footsteps, I think Lepe's going to maintain or grow his lead. Because, as I want to mention, like, out of these 4 runners, Lepe is definitely the most experienced in terms of just the movement and execution in this game. However, Matt looks to be doing an RBM or the bit warp. Either way, is taking an intentional death to activate back in time, which I think is the first time we're seeing back in time this race. So by hitting reset after hitting continue, he's gonna load in on the title screen with control of Link, and this is going to allow him to do various things that will have an effect. Not sure what. Okay, so Matt unnecessarily doing the boss key chest RBM. And so he's gonna need to do a second RBM, but this just... So this is going to skip the Moldorm fight to get the boss key chest, but since he has Magma Mitts, he doesn't need to do this unless he really doesn't want to do that Moldorm fight, but I still don't think it's worth it.
Is the RBM faster than doing the fight itself?
No. If you have Magma Mitts, it's faster to do the fight. Well, assuming you have optimal execution on the fight. I guess if you are really bad at that fight, then it might be worth doing the RBMs, but in general, RBMs or back in time in general is rather slow, so you want to... Oh, and unfortunately, I don't know that this is going to work for him because he checked the statue too early, so that's going to set the flag for the statue already. And Matt, yeah. Unfortunately, this is not going to work for Matt, I don't think.
Yeah, it should not work if he already set the scene flag for it.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it won't be that much of a problem because he can still just do the Moldorm fight, which is, in my opinion, what he should just do anyways. Lepe continuing his way through Fire Sanctuary. Maybe hasn't done this puzzle in a while. This is a part of Fire Sanctuary you like never see in speedruns outside of No Bit. Okay, so Matt doing the bit warp.
He's probably going to check bottle check.
Well,
If he
he's
knows how to do
heading
it.
the wrong direction for bottle check. Or, well, no. Well, so the fact that he reloaded the room indicates to me that he is going to just hop immediately down. To the back half of the dungeon without checking the bottle chest first, but I could, yeah. So he's gonna hop directly into the mouth from there, which only works because he is in the wrong map for the particular room that he loaded into. So the normally there would be a void plane to prevent you from doing that, but since he's on the wrong map, he can just land right there. Okay, so Lepe opening the last small key chest, which today is just a piece of heart. Oh no, that's the map chest. Okay, now he's going to the third small key chest. Okay, doesn't get too trolled by the mold orm. Lepe not familiar with where the small key chest is, though. Is gonna need to go back through the tunnels again. The small key chest is behind you after you spawn, or after you leave the underground tunnel. But this is a part of the dungeon that Lepelog has probably not been in for years. So, and it is a vanilla small key. Yeah, Matt, I think, realizes that his RBM failed, so now just going to fight the mold orm. So Deer in Fire Sanctuary ahead of Sam. Well, here's the thing. It depends on when Matt finds, or if the Farron tablet is in the back of Fire Sanctuary. Because if it is not in the back of Fire Sanctuary, Matt may very well then check all the checks in the front of Fire Sanctuary, and that would evaporate this small lead that he has gained. So the only way that Matt would then be ahead is if he decided after this to just completely gamble on the front of Fire Sanctuary being nothing and go back to Pirate Stronghold. And Lepe would be also going to Pirate Stronghold at that point. Also, Lepelog still going through the dungeon's intended progression.
Matt, finishing the Moldorm fight.
Yeah, I don't think he even took a hit, so I think it wound up being completely unnecessary for him to do the RBMs. And there's the boss key.
We've got a vanilla boss key, this Fire Sanctuary.
But we're still looking for an emerald tablet.
Have we checked all the chests in Fire Sanctuary?
We have not checked the Platts chest yet. Or no, actually yes, because Lepe just checked the Platts chest. So yes, we have checked every chest. Between Lepe and Matt, all chests in Fire Sanctuary have been checked.
It looks like Matt's going straight to the boss, gambling on there being nothing else in Fire Sanctuary.
That is quite the gamble. But I mean, this is the gamble that he needs to make to win the race. Like, if he has a good Gyrim 2 fight and then just bails and goes right to Pirate Stronghold, he wins the race.
And there is a chance that the Farron tablet is on the heart container or on the Master Sword check.
Yeah, that is also very true. But we know that it isn't in the main part of Fire Sanctuary, so, like, we have, like, we kind of have, like, if you're a fan of Matt, you are hoping that he just dips immediately after completing this fight. Unfortunately, okay, he took some damage, he was on his last hit, but he did take out Gyrim. Lepelog, just running into that stone tablet. Yeah, well, not the heart container. Lepe being trolled by the lizard tail. Okay, so Farron Tablet is not in Fire Sanctuary. And what Matt does next will determine the race.
He could go back into Fire Sanctuary to check the front, but what we know, that's what he's doing. But
Yeah,
with what
so
we know, it's not the play.
Unfortunately, that is probably the play that loses Matt the race. Well, Matt's saving. What is Matt going to do here?
Might be going for the bottle check.
So
But
Deer doing back in time here. Looks to be creating a corrupt file. So might be going for Platts RBM. Although not going about it quite the optimal way.
Or he could be doing map chest RBM, but I don't know why he would do that since the RBM is slower than just doing the normal map stuff.
Well, I mean, it depends if he's also going to go for the bit warp. But he's doing one of those two RBMs. Lepe having a bit of trouble with this Moldorm fight. Moldorm is absolutely not cooperating with him. But Lepe is also chasing the Moldorm, which... like, he was so close there, but... Okay, he does eventually kill the Moldorm, but chasing the Moldorm's tail is not really the strat. But it did eventually work out for Lepe. And yes, Trolldorm strikes again. You know, Lepe doing what looks to be a safety save before Girahim. Sam also going for the quick strat for this, but unfortunately fails it and doesn't have any bombs left. Going the really long way around to get the bomb. Going through that tunnel was completely unnecessary. Hopefully you'll still have enough airtime with the beetle to hit it with that bomb. Yeah, and this is why for Matt, like, if he wanted to check this chest, he really could have done it much more optimally by checking this while he was doing the bit warp. Also, like, Deer is going for the out of bounds setup to get this to get the bottle chest. Or okay, he already got the bottle chest, but he's using this to get and he gets to the back of the dungeon. Now we just have to hope that he can defeat these two Dark Lizalfos, because it would be tragic to get that and then die to these Dark Lizalfos, which can sometimes really troll you and not quite do what you want. And it looks like Deer is not having the best fight ever, but is backflipping to avoid taking damage from them and has defeated one of them, and dealing with only one of the Dark Lizalfos is significantly easier than dealing with both of them at the same time. Matt taking a death to the single Dark Lizalfos. And
Sam
Lepe...
scooping air.
Oh, there's also checks in Desert too that I completely forgot about, because now that we have Hook Beetle, we can complete Fire Node and also check the chest on top of LMF. Unfortunately, Lepe is going to have to shut the time shift stone off and then reactivate it on the other side. Because even if you try to push the shortcut block down, it won't. Like when you come back, it will be raised again, which is a little dumb, but that's the way that the vanilla game is. Unfortunately, that Ample is not on the moving part of the sink sand, so Lepe is just going to break slide across. So now the only hope for Matt is that he chooses to go to the pirate stronghold first, but even then I think Lepe will still beat him to pirate stronghold.
I mean, we could also see Lepe go for Levias, but I highly, highly doubt that.
I sincerely doubt he will make that play. Like, it would be out of care. It would be just like, we know, like Lepe has said in the past, he will always last location Levias, and he's already like in Lanayru, so it would be such a massive detour that I would legitimately call it a bad play if he did just dip to Levias in this situation. Sam not having a key. Oh yeah, because he needs to unlock the... He needs to get the key. Okay, he's already opened the gate. He just hasn't been to this part of the dungeon in a while.
I think Sam is trying to get hearts here to heal up.
Could also be, yeah. He only gets 3 hearts. He's also out of bombs, but he can just pick those up here. Yeah, well, we'll see what's at top of LMF. If If it's not here, it's in Pirate Stronghold. And I don't think I've forgotten about anything else.
Yeah, it kind of has to be here or in Pirate Stronghold.
Yeah, Matt at least seeming confident in his movement in Fire Sanctuary.
Now the question is, which Pirate Stronghold chest will the Emerald Tablet be in?
Average Link is guessing 3. I'll guess 2 just to be different.
I'll guess the first one to be different.
Oh no, Matt taking a death here. Although this may actually be good for Matt if he decides to dip out. But unfortunately, he decides to keep going. Which, I mean, for him is reasonable, but he is not going to get anything for all of the time he's going to expend here. Yeah, he also has claw shots, so he should just, like, so he got that jump, but he wasted a lot of time setting it up when he could have just claw shot it across. Well, I guess since we haven't found Bo, I guess like that is probably the reason he was hesitant to claw shot across. Also, if Matt looks like he may be not solving this puzzle correctly, I think he just realized it, and so that's going to cost him time.
I will be back shortly. I am going to go get a glass of water before the end of the seed.
Alright. Okay, so now Matt correctly solving the puzzle and Lepe entering Pirate Stronghold where our progression must lie. Yeah, so Lepe showing off doing jump slashes on the right side to skip the quicksand there. Now, this area is really cool because you're carrying a time shift orb all the way through the area. He's going to be able to run past all these enemies, and there's a BMOS, but you can kind of slip by it and not have to deal with it. Also using the whip to quick drop the time shift orb. And Battle Cats was correct in his prediction, although he did not, or he was not here to see it.
I came back just as he opened the chest.
Yep, so lepelog finally at 2 hours and 29 minutes is in go mode.
And still needs another dungeon to complete.
True, but that should be pretty fast. And I mean, go mode Farron tablet is like probably like honestly, I guess maybe not the best go mode, but like he knows that he doesn't have to do anything in Farron except just rush Skyview.
Yeah, so Farron is going to be completely empty. Deer is now done with Fire Sanctuary, so we'll see where he goes after.
I guess Deer didn't check the heart piece item here. Is gonna be disappointed. Not sure where Sam is going. Now we have Groose. Okay, Matt is leaving Fire Sanctuary. Sam taking a death in Fire Sanctuary. Yeah, it looks like Deer is in fact ahead.
Yeah, so Deer is going to go to the fire node to get the two checks there, and then he will probably raise LMF to get that check, and then he'll end up going to Pirate Stronghold.
Yeah, it looks like Deer is not... Well, okay, it looks like Deer might be having some nunchuck issues again, but Also looks like he might not be as confident with his movement in Linearu.
I wonder how many log jumps we'll see today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fairly confident that Sam and Matt can do it. I don't know about Deer, but Deer has already impressed me thus far to this seed, so he may also have practiced that. Yeah, nunchuck issues are unfortunate, and it's just that most of the time they're not even like the nunchuck itself. Like the nunchuck itself is fine, but it's the Wii Remote's connection to the nunchuck that gets screwed up. And it's just that the port on the Wii Remote that you plug the nunchuck into just tends to wear out over time. And like if you have been using the same Wii Remote for years and years, and then you're putting a lot of stress on it suddenly, like, yeah, unfortunately, that tends to that's going to cause issues. So, yeah, Lepe is choosing to to just be thorough with his checks in Skyview 2. Not gambling that the boss key is going to be in the back half of the dungeon, which is the play that I might make in this situation. Okay, Matt got his Emerald Tablet and is death warping out. Yeah, correct. With the claw shots, you can get through all this without raising the water at all. So Lepe does find one small key. If he finds two small keys, then I think it's not really worth doing the bit warp, because you can just get through the checks anyways. Wow, Deer finding that last Song of the Hero piece very late, but that is probably going to save him from doing the Skyloft trial. And Lepe finding the boss key, so actually I think at this point he just does the bit warp. Does a nice jump slash to land right on the platform next to the bird statue. And he's saving, and that means he's going to be most likely activating back in time, going to just let the archer damage him. Then decides that that's too slow and uses bombs.
He has no more need for bombs, so why not just waste all the bombs?
Well, I mean, also once when you do back in time, you save first, so the bombs that he's using are not actually going to be consumed. Like when he reloads his file, he's going to have the same amount of bombs as he saved with.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so Lepe never set up a bit magic file, so he's going to have to void out here to get to the statue. It's really interesting to see a seed, though, where you're doing sky view at like 2 hours 40 minutes.
Yeah, usually Skyview is done right at the very beginning because it needs like no items other than the slingshot and potentially the beetle.
Yeah, it's just that the one really hard requirement, besides a way to hit the crystal, is the emerald tablet, which is the thing that our runners didn't find for basically ever.
In my first match in the group stage against the Muzu, our go mode item was the Theron tablet.
Yeah, so Lepe needed to go fight those Saldras to reload the area. Unfortunately, not having bow means that he has to use the Skyward Strike strat to hit those archers. He does take a hit from the archers, but Girahim 1 is a pushover, so this should not be an issue at all, especially because he has Master Sword, which, like, if he gets good RNG, he can do this fight in less than 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's arguably the easiest fight in the game.
Yeah. So Deer going through Pirate Stronghold. It does not look like he is as familiar with the strats for this area. Which is fine, it just means that he's probably going to have to kill all of these enemies that Lepe was able to just ignore. And I looked over at Deer for a second, and lepelog is already done with the Girahim 1 fight. And that was a really quick BMOS kill from Deer.
But Deer now has the Emerald tablet and is in go mode, while Sam is still in Fire Sanctuary without the Emerald tablet.
Yeah, unfortunately, Sam did struggle a lot with Fire Sanctuary, and even more unfortunately, just, yeah, there's nothing here. Careful, Sam. Okay. Yeah, so Lepe is just going to fly back to the sky and land back in sealed ground so that he can go ahead and do the endgame bosses.
So very shortly we will see Lepe hotting the spile.
Yep, it's hot the spile time.
Sam surviving the Moldorm fight on 1 heart and finally getting the boss key.
Yeah. We'll see. Looks like he's going to go for the safety fairy here, which I don't blame him, because he doesn't want to like take a hit near the end of the Girahim fight and have to do it all over again. Yeah, I think if he gets the fairy, skipping the safety save is reasonable. Like, I know Sam did the old any percent back when we still had to do Fire Sanctuary, so he's very familiar with Girahim 2 strats. And I expect he can get through the fight easily. Deer buying a potion, which, if he's not confident in his ability to execute the endgame fights, I think that's reasonable. I do think, although they cost more, like, I think Guardian Potions are actually, like, another reasonable safety item to go with. Although more so if you have 2 bottles, because then what you can do is you can put the Guardian Potion in one, and then you have a fairy or something in the other bottle, and the Guardian Potion will double the value of that fairy because it halves the damage you take. Unfortunately, Lepe not getting a kebab gets thrown off the imprisoned's head for the on the first cycle. Let's see if he can get the jump slash on the second cycle, the more important one. Well, Sam does finally finish the Girahim 2 fight.
On this seed you have to fight Girahim 1, Girahim 2, and Girahim 3. There's not that many seeds like that because I don't think we've seen a Skyview Fire Sanctuary yet. In the tournament, at least.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think the showcase race before the tournament was Skyview Fire Sanctuary.
I remember one of them was Fire Sanctuary because KitKat gambled on the Bit Warp and it paid off, but I don't remember the other one.
Oh no, Lepe with firing the Grusinator to basically what happened with Lepe there was he was mashing through the text for Grus talking about the Grusinator, and he mashed through too quickly and then just hit the button to actually launch it too early.
I did that in my first inning race, which is why I'm very careful mashing through that text.
Yeah, I've definitely done that before, and it feels awful.
Unfortunately, not skipping the worm.
Yeah. I mean, if this race were closer, like, it could potentially have been the difference, but unfortunately, like, Matt is far enough behind that although, like, Lepe is losing a ton of time here, it's not really gonna matter. Actually actually hitting the actually hodding the spile with the jump slash off the edge. That was really interesting.
He jumped like into the mouth and then teleported it back up. Very
Yeah.
interesting, adding up the spile.
But yep, Lepe has hodded the spile.
Unfortunately, Sam is not going straight to Pirate Stronghold and doing the fire node, which I believe is what all the other runners have done as well.
Well, he's doing what Lepe did, like checking this first.
Yeah, Deer also did that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame these runners. Like, do you really want to do Pirate Stronghold? It's so far out of the way, but unfortunately today it was the progression.
Yeah, exactly. I tend to avoid Pirate Stronghold.
Deer still doing checks. He does check that one chest. I mean, I guess if that happened to be true Master Sword, it would be nice, but I can't think of anything else that Deer would want at this point.
Yeah, he already has Hylian Shield. The only thing that would be helpful to him right now is the true Master Sword.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say another bottle, but he already has, I presume, at least like 2 bottles.
Yeah, Deer has a Guardian Potion and a Health Potion.
Oh, he did buy a Guardian Potion.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I missed that. Okay, so Lepe heading back in from hodding the spile and is now going to do the horde fight. Also, Deer is going to run right past these Bokos. He did not, I guess he doesn't know that you can actually claw shot up the first vines and you can hop around the log to skip that cutscene.
I don't think Matt actually ever got the boss key. I wasn't really paying attention.
I think Matt might have just done the bit warp immediately, which in this case is unfortunate because the boss key was in the front.
Yeah, it's a much higher chance to be in the back, but as we saw in this seed, it can still be in the front.
Yep, so Lepe in the horde fight. At the first barrier. These blue-capped Bokos can be really frustrating to deal with Master Sword. Getting a rupee text in the middle of the horde fight. But still doing a pretty good job, like, with this phase. Yeah, takes out basically all of them relatively quickly. So now lepelog's gonna be setting up for a horde skip. You know, it looks like Lepe missed Horde Skip.
Yeah, I looked away. I didn't see, but it does
Yeah,
look like he missed it.
yeah, he missed it because he's on heading towards the third barrier because there's a ton of archers. So, unfortunately, he has to deal with the blue Boko as punishment for missing Horde Skip. If he does it right, he can spin the blue Boko over the edge. But unfortunately, not quite managing that, but still able to dispatch the blue Boko quickly.
Fairly clean fight without knocking it over the edge.
Yeah, I'd say that's about as clean as it can go without getting the super fast strat.
Yeah, that super fast strat's kind of difficult when it's coming at a bad angle.
Sam resetting. Yeah. It hasn't been displayed on restream, on the restream chat yet, but I think we can. I think at this point it's clear, so I'll just say it that Sam has forfeited from the race. So
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate. Like, he just had to check Pirate Stronghold, but yeah. I mean, this was like a seed with with some gotchas and that was like relatively linear, and that Baron tablet was a huge bottleneck. So, also, unfortunately, that means since that was a losers bracket matchup for Group 2, that means that Sam is eliminated from the tournament, and Deer will be moving on to face Exto in the losers finals.
All right, how are you guys doing? Oh boy.
Welcome, Sam.
Dude, that was so tough. You know, like in the beginning I was doing pretty alright. Like I did take like an hour to get those crystals under the waterfall cave, but I was doing fine. And then I came to the Skyloft trial and I died on the last tier, and then I finished it and got a bottle for it. And after that my mental was just gone, man. I started making a ton of mistakes. It was such a disappointment.
Yeah, we
Oh,
knew
well.
you were going to. We knew you were going to be furious when you saw that bottle.
Yeah, I was gonna play it out actually, but when I got to Fire Sanctuary, I took like a ton of stupid deaths for no reason, and then I just decided to try to find the Emerald Tablet before I forfeited, but it wasn't an error, so. So it was you said it was in Pirate Stronghold, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Sansi was stacked this seed, like
Yeah, it really
unbelievably
was.
stacked.
That's always a tough decision. Like, a lot of times I'll do that where I'll go to Skipper's Retreat and get everything from there, and then I just won't do Pirate Stronghold and hope there's nothing in there, but I guess it backfired this time.
Yeah, I think it was reasonable to go to Fire Sanctuary like after you got all the items to beat it. And that's basically what every runner did. They got the items they needed to do Fire Sanctuary, and then they just did Fire Sanctuary, and then came back for the Farron tablet.
And
Yep.
GG lepelog finishing
GG.
with a 2:59:38.
So yeah, sub 3 for Lepe.
Barely.
So that race could have actually been really close if Matt had made the decision. So Matt did the bit warp and did the back of Fire Sanctuary, and since the boss key was vanilla, he was able to just beat Fire Sanctuary like then. And if he had made the decision to just leave and go back to Sandsea right then, he may very well have actually won, but unfortunately, he decided to go and then still full clear Fire Sanctuary, so he wound up not gaining any advantage from that.
Yeah. It was strange too, because I was considering abandoning the Skyloft trial like 2 times, because for some reason I was having a ton of trouble with like my Motion Plus with the harp strumming. Like when I did the Elden trial that had claw shots in it, it just it did this weird thing where it would just like completely delete all my progress. Like the game thought I did another harp strum back. So at one point I actually went and started to do the Skyloft trial, but I just gave up on it because the harp was being super weird to me. And then I recalibrated and did it again. I wish I had just given up on it entirely. But that's how it is, man.
Yeah, we saw that, and yeah, I think people. Yeah, I think the first time when like it looked like you were going to open it, and then I looked away, and then I looked back, and you were had just left.
Yeah.
And I was a little confused, but yeah, and then when you came back there, we were and we're struggling with the harp again. We were like, well, like it would, like we kind of hoped you would just give up on it because we knew at that point it was useless, but you did manage it, and then unfortunately, yeah, you got the item and it was useless.
Yeah, and I got bonked, man. That was actually like one of the first times I've done the Skyloft trial, because I'd never had a song hint for Song of the Hero being useful. And so I was like frantically going to like the ZSR page and looking at the tier route, but when I got to the end of the graveyard, that little watcher that's there just caught me, and I didn't know where the last tier was, so I just scrambled around and got hit. It's actually heartbreaking, man.
Yeah.
That's alright.
Well, Matt is about to hop the spile, and we are also joined by Lepe. GG, Lepe.
Hi.
GG.
Yeah.
So, what were your thoughts on this seed?
That's pretty good. I like Go Mode, Farron. Was fun.
Do you wish you had stayed in Sandsea to find that Farron tablet a little earlier?
No. I just wish I had done that before doing the rest of the Naru.
Yeah, because if you got an Emerald Tablet the first time you went to Sandsea, I feel like you'd be tempted to go to Lanero and get all like the rest of the stuff there. When all the progression items were elsewhere.
I mean, there was some stuff in Lanero, if I remember correctly. Sure. I think mids were there and something. I don't remember. I think a bottle. Yeah.
Ooh, no kebab for Battle Cats. That's unfortunate.
But yeah, I should have done that way earlier, but whatever. I mean, I was pretty certain at that point that the item was in Levias, and I had just lost, so I wasn't too mad.
Yeah. Matt actually did do Levias a lot earlier, and it was junk.
Yeah, I did Levias as well, actually.
Yeah, it was actually crystals, which was interesting because like it saved him from having to get like 5 more individual crystals.
Oh yeah.
Because the whole Betro thing, like, I think Betro had like 3 5-packs in a row. Or something
Yeah,
like
he had
that.
a lot of 5 crystals.
And you
And
still had to
Nehru
get,
Tablet was on 50, which is pretty insane.
yeah, and you still had to get 10. I mean, I guess if you do Levias, you don't have to get that many. But...
Yeah.
I mean,
But
I was thinking if I should do Levias or grab individual crystals, and then I thought that it was like Betro is much more likely to have something, so I went with the individual crystals.
yeah,
I don't know.
There we go.
Which for this seed turned out to be the right play.
Yeah, but I mean, at least with 5 crystals on Levias, it was probably not a huge time loss, honestly. Because, like, 5 crystals, the way I had to get 5 crystals was pretty slow. Because I was not prepared to get 5 more.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Cause yeah, I think like the other thing is like the 2 crystals on Lumpy Pumpkin. I don't think anyone went for those 2 crystals, which might have saved like having to get the waterfall cave ones.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
I think I didn't even have to get the waterfall ones, or at least only one, because I did not get the one in Sword Academy. No, in Training Hall. But and I think I also did not get the one in the Academy plan. Although I'm not sure about that one.
Lepe, did Levias ever cross your mind throughout the run?
Yeah, like when I was going for individual crystals, I was like, okay, I might do Levias if this turns out to be nothing. I mean, it would have been the last location, so of course. And then I think the next time was when I was in Pirate Stronghold. I was like, okay, if there's nothing here, then I have to do it. But it was always like, okay, I'm not gonna do it unless I absolutely have to. Because also, I think since Battle of the Goddess was on Spirit Crystals, which required claw shots, that was pretty late in logic. So I would prefer all of the other claw shot lock checks, like Sansi, which is why I think, like, looking back, Lanai was pretty bad because that also needed Hook Beetle, which I don't even remember where that was, but it was definitely later in progression. So, yeah. I think...
Hook Beetle was fancy, I believe.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Both Magma Mitts and Hook Beetle were the first 2 chests in Skipper's Retreat.
Oh yeah, that was Skipper's Retreat. That was pretty good.
Yeah, Skipper's Retreat was stacked.
Yeah.
And apparently Sansi was in general. Because was there anything else in Pirate Stronghold besides Emerald Tablet?
Well, we didn't see because that was go mode for basically every runner.
Oh yeah. That was very nice. I was like, okay, how do I get out the fastest? I was like, hey, just go back and find something to Death Warp, which worked out. I mean, were the overall routes pretty similar, or were there any huge changes?
I mean, the routes were mostly similar because like the seed was rather linear and had like a bunch of places where it bottlenecked on like one item, but
yeah,
the one big divergence between you and Matt that might have swung the race was that Matt decided to first do the bit warp and clear the back of Fire Sanctuary, so he got the boss key first and actually defeated Girahim immediately. And at that point, if he had decided to just leave and go back to Pirate Stronghold, like, he would have been in the lead at that point, but
Oh yeah.
he wound up.
That was definitely one thing, one mistake I did. I should have done that as well. Like after, I mean I did like in Fire Sanctuary first and got the first 2 chests, because I mean I was there anyway. But when I came back with Hook Beetle and Bogmomits, I think I should have just done the Bit Warp, because I could have skipped. I could have skipped going out of my way for the bottle chest and also doing the mini game to activate the 3 lava things to actually get across to go to the bird statue.
Yeah, because that's all really slow.
Yeah, but I mean, I would have done. I would have full cleared Fire Sanctuary anyway. I mean, I also could have skipped the last small key because, I mean, at that point I was certain that that had to be a key. So I feel like doing the bit warp first is definitely the best option. Because I mean, I also thought about doing what I can, like going my way through and then getting the bottle chest with the bit warp, but I went back because I was like, okay, if the keys don't work out, I have to go back here, which was a good decision because that key was definitely needed, I think. So
Yeah, if you were gonna do the full clear, then the keys are required at.
Yeah.
Yeah, ADN Matt did Serenade. He's the winner in our hearts.
He is.
Also, no one got TMS, so I wonder where that was.
I mean, probably in Farron somewhere.
Yeah, probably ended up being in Farron.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like, I'm pretty sure at this point everything in Farron is open, but I mean, also nobody got the bow.
Yeah, there was no bow. Or actually, no, Matt got the slingshot.
Yeah, Slingshot was on Beatrice.
Yeah, same
Oh,
with
sick.
Beatrice. I don't know, but it feels like Beatrice has Slingshot more often than that should happen. Because that's definitely not the first time I see that.
Yeah, I've had it happen before.
I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, it's a progression item, but a useless one.
Yeah. It's more like at that point, since you already had Beetle, it was like at that point it was kind of more of a convenience item because like using the Beetle is slow. And Matt on Demise and Deer about to hot the Spile, and Matt has finished.
GG.
With the time
GG, Matt.
3:13:31.
Very
A
good.
lot of 3s and 1s. Yeah, Deer's about to hot the Spile.
So, what was your reaction when you realized that your progression had to be on Elven Trial early on?
I mean, since it was pretty clear, I did not mind it that much. Because it was like, okay, yeah, I just gonna have to do it.
Honestly, for me, like, I actually kind of like when that kind of like situation appears because like I'm pretty like familiar with Elden Trial, even though like I did a ton of stupid stuff in there. Like I know the route and stuff from any percent, and I'm like comfortable with it. I'd rather have that as like the progression item than some of the stuff from the other parts of the game that I'm like super unfamiliar with. So I was actually pretty happy about that.
I mean, it always sucks if there's something good on the trial and there's like no indication for it, and you end up searching everything else, and then
Yeah, that's
you
true.
just lose because the trial would have been the correct choice. But I mean, I feel like at this point, I mean, it was pretty funny actually because it was like I think it was like Colin's letter into Baby Straddle into Din's power.
Yeah, it
Into
was something like that.
So
Yeah, it was
I mean,
like
that definitely had some comedic value there.
yeah, fetch quest chain into trial.
Would have been funny if that would have been like last song of the hero piece, which was needed or something. In another seed.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, Song of the Hero had nothing of value. And
Yeah.
I think Deer was the only one who didn't get aided by it. Because he got that last Song of the Hero piece very late.
Ah, okay. I mean, there were a few times. I think I got it when I was really low on other checks and I wasn't scalloped anyway. And was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it.
Yo, what up, man? GG, man.
Yeah,
GG.
GG lep. Yeah, I made some some wrong choices, but it's fine.
Yeah, I guess like the one big thing was like you made the decision to do the bit warp in Fire Sanctuary. So you got the boss key early and you beat Fire Sanctuary, and at that point if you had decided to dip out of Fire Sanctuary and just go back to Sandsea, you would have been ahead of Lepe.
Yeah, I figured, but like I am too much of a believer that dungeons has progressive items, so I was hoping the Emerald Tablet was in Sanctuary, so that was my mistake. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna beat Fire Sanctuary because I'm right here, so and then I'll go back and full clear it. But that was bad.
Yeah, I mean it was reasonable.
I think it was the right decision. But I mean, you can always, like afterwards, you're always smarter.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020 and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have full cleared Sensi, honestly. I should not have dipped after I got Hook Beetle.
Yeah, that's what I did too. I'm just so hesitant about to go to Pirate Stronghold ever because it's just so slow. Those 3
Yeah,
checks.
exactly.
Yeah, it's so out of the way.
The funny thing is,
getting there takes a long time.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that I did a seed like yesterday or something. That Emerald Tablet was my go mode and was the first chest in Pirate Stronghold. I was like, wait, what? Is this the seed that I was playing?
Dear resetting. Interesting.
Oh well. It happens.
We didn't see any kebabs today, unfortunately.
Damn.
Yeah. I think I got my worst M2 in a long time.
There's a race in 50 minutes, so we might see a kebab then.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I believe in Flo and Harmjan. I believe in both of them.
What's going on with Deer right now? He just went back into the temple.
I think he forgot to activate the Imp 2 fight again.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So yeah. So Lepe, so now you are moving on to the bracket stage. So are there any opponents that like you would like to face in the bracket or you would like to avoid facing in the bracket stage?
Not really. I don't know. I mean, if you make it out of group stage, you are scary. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I guess
really
that's
have someone I'd say, yeah, I really like to face them, and someone I really don't like to face them. I mean, like everyone is good, and everyone can definitely win the race. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. I'm definitely very afraid of all the fast players because I feel like I generally the only reason I won this race is probably because I was faster. So I don't like I'm not good at decision making. I make a lot of routing mistakes, but I get carried by being slightly faster, and I'm pretty sure that's gone now in bracket stage. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because like thus far in the brackets, the people who have locked into bracket are Jim, Jaznix, and you. So
Yeah,
three
I'm
very
very
skilled runners.
I'm very afraid of both of them. So
Yeah, I think you're right. Your average link, like the toast up to get him to stop, so you can ride at the vent. But actually, you don't have to do that. You can just run ahead. It's slower, but you can just run ahead and jump on his head before he starts climbing the wall and hit him that way. But it looks like Deer is just waiting for him to climb it and do the Crusader shot. Yeah. I'm just too inconsistent with the slashing his little fingies.
Yeah, I go for the slash the fingers, and like on the off chance that I get it, which I'm not very consistent with it, but I can do it. And then if I fail it, I'll try a few more times to slash his fingers so that I can. Because even if you miss it, like on getting the air vent, you can still his slam attack takes so long that you can get all the way up and still have plenty of time before he decides to climb the wall.
yeah, that attack is really, really good for you to actually get ahead of him.
Yeah.
Get on his head. But yeah, I always go for the fingers, and I don't know. I'm actually surprised that I'm not terrible at it, but I mean it's also not a big deal if you miss it, as you said, because you can just like try again and still get a pretty fast cycle. You just can't take the first air vents up, which is the slowest thing.
It's not too bad to go for the other vent, so...
No, it's not. It's definitely not. I mean, it's definitely better to still go for his fingers, even if you miss it the first time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think Deer's just hesitant to go up to the next level, which is what he kind of needs to do in this situation. Because he's just staying on the same level as the imprisoned, which...
He might be going for intended strats.
Did someone find Bo? Found Bo?
No, I don't think we've seen it.
Nobody found Bo that I know of.
Yeah. I was wondering.
I mean, I'm currently running around in Farron trying to find it.
Everybody found Tumbleweed, though.
Yeah,
Nice.
I was happy about that.
Yeah, I got super glad I found it.
Valid run.
Man, that's unfortunate. If I didn't get bopped in the Skyloft trial, I probably could have actually caught up quite a bit on him too. It's a shame. That's alright though. It can be like that.
So Deer has knocked the Imprison down the intended way.
Yeah, intended strats are really annoying. Like, honestly, it doesn't even feel like like something they intended you to do, just because like alternating between the feet as they slam down is just so tedious.
It really is.
Yeah, I think that, like, I mean, I think it's clear, like the way that this is the way that almost everyone will do the imprisoned casually, but I think like they kind of structured the imprisoned 3 fight where you at the end of it you have to like use the Grosinator to get on his head, and I think like that fight in particular like kind of is the game's way of telling you, hey, you can actually get on the imprisoned's head and slam his spike in that way.
Yeah, and so when you play it the next time, you know it. You know that
Yeah.
you can do the same with M1 and M2.
Good thing they tell you that on the final fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Getting trolled by the air event.
All right. Actually, I actually have to dip right now. I was putting off a lot of stuff that I needed to do, like for my parents and stuff. So I won't stay till the end of the race and do the commentary. But I will say GG in advance to Deer when he joins. Unfortunately, I am the first one eliminated from the tournament, but that's all right. I got into Rando super late, so it was a learning experience a lot. But I'm fine with how I did. And it was a good time. That's what matters, man.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah, of course. It was fun. I'm just I'm excited for the next tournament.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll see you guys. It was fun. Thank you to the commentators and the restreamers.
Can't wait for the next tournament to have a the bias hint.
And her randomized entrance.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
I'd like to see entrance randomizer in the next one, because like it would mean that like Stone of Trials is no longer necessarily a paperweight.
Yeah, I mean the problem with race mode and randomized entrances, you don't actually know which entrances you have to do. So like Stone of Trials, for example, if the dungeon inside that is not required, then Stone of Trials could be everywhere, but you just don't know that until you actually get it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is true, and you'd have to.
Like if you find Stone of Trials early, that means that might be required. The Skykeep might be a required dungeon, like entrance.
I don't think we should get rid of race mode, even with more hints.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because even I don't know. I mean, I think the hints there should be some way that the render can tell you which dungeon entrances are required. I don't know. I mean, like most dungeon entrances aren't that bad, probably.
Yeah, it's like LMF is probably the worst dungeon entrance, because like
I mean, not even because of the chest on top of it.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true, but it also has the most requirements. But I think like the one thing I'd be excited for with entrance rando is like finally having like whip as a viable way to do the first room of LMF, and maybe we put that whip trick into logic.
Nah, I mean, I think we should restructure logic a bit and make stuff like that tricks and have an option to enable them or something like that. Because I know that a lot of other randomizers do that, and I think that's better than just putting it in logic for everyone. Because, I mean, we still get a lot of questions about the whip trick in Skipper's Retreat to grab the bomb.
Yeah, I guess.
So.
Yeah, I guess that is true because that one's not. It works and it's not difficult to execute, but it's also not intuitive.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be something I would probably make, like make an option, and obviously enable that for race settings, putting that trick into logic.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, for race settings too, like, if we do put some glitches and things into logic, then maybe we put, like, the fence hop into logic, because basically everyone does fence hop, and
I mean, but the thing is, I disagree with that, because it kind of creates another layer that you have to think, okay, I can go out of logic now. I feel like if you're forced to do everything by logic, like all the tricks, then that completely goes away. This kind of gamble.
Yeah, that
because if you put fence up into logic, then that means you can do it like at any point with a sword, and it also means that that chest is always like in logic, which I don't know.
Also, I really want to point out that I want to point out quickly that Deer got horde skip and got a really clean horde skip at that.
Yeah, it's very clean.
Nice. Impressive.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that. It's like with SMZ3, the Super Metroid Link to the Past combo randomizer, there's kind of that thing where it has two logics, where normal logic basically is a glitchless logic, and has a hard logic that has like all of the Super Metroid like skips and glitches in it, and it's so there's kind of the both of them are raced a lot, but the tournaments tend to be done on the normal logic there, I think, to be accessible. And also there's like the community is fairly split on like which logic people think is better.
Okay. I mean, I definitely prefer something like individual tricks, because like maybe that also creates a lot more variety you can put in, but it also makes it a lot more difficult to implement probably, because if you have a lot of tricks, then all of these need to get into the permalink, which can get quite large.
Yeah.
And I still think it's better to do it that way. I mean, I don't think we will have that many tricks overall. I mean, yeah, fence up is definitely something, but I don't know. I don't like enabling that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because, like, kind of, yeah. I mean, I see the point about, like, just being able to kind of parse out the logic and decide to gamble on it.
Yeah. I think there should always be some checks you can do, but are not in logic, just to create that. Because otherwise you really just have to follow the logic completely and can't gamble on stuff. And also, like, sometimes these tricks are also kind of dumb and tedious. Like, for example, getting Baby's Rattle without claw shots with just Beetle and Gust Billows. I mean, that's definitely glitchless, right? So you would probably enable that in kind of a hard setting, but it's really dumb to do, and it takes a while, and it's probably not worth it.
Yeah, I would be against putting that in, because that's just like, it's tedious, it's slow, it's not like it's really...
But it would definitely be something I would put in logic before putting an actual glitch in.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of a fair point.
I don't know. I think having the logic glitchless and fairly casual is pretty good. And like some individual tricks we definitely can put in. Oh yeah, also I found 2 Master Sword. It was in Lake Floria, the last chest.
Nice.
So Lake Floria with a sword upgrade yet again.
Yeah.
Lake Floria always seems to have sword upgrades.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless you do it out of logic. Then we'll never have anything.
True. Or unless your name is Jaznix, then Lake Floria will
Yeah.
have nothing. Oh no, Deer mismanaging his stamina there. But at almost the end of the fight, does decide to use his red potion.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna see Demise from Deer.
Also, I was really hoping for the chest inside Sealed Temple to have a heart piece. Because I intentionally skipped it the first time and then got it. So I was hoping for a health refill, but nope.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a reasonable play to go for, though, because it's like, with how many heart pieces and heart containers in the pool, that, like, there's still a pretty decent chance you'll find one there.
Yeah, and it also doesn't really do that much time. In case it's nothing, you lost a few seconds. I mean, it's pretty much also the reason I checked TMS, just in case it could also be vanilla. Also,
That's
GG, Deer.
Yep, Deer finishing first place in his race with a time of 3:37.08.
Pretty good.
Yep, we'll be moving on to the losers bracket finals to face Exto, which will be a formidable opponent, to say the least.
Unfortunate that Deer had to face both Jim and Exto.
Yeah, I feel like Deer probably, out of like all the fourth quartile runners, probably got the worst possible draw.
Oh no.
I mean, to be fair, like Sam also got the same really rough draw. Like drawing a group with Jim and Exto in it is, yeah,
Hard.
yeah, because it's.
I mean, it's a challenge. There's always the possibility of an upset.
Yeah. And I mean, I would honestly call this result here an upset, because, like, I mean, if you're just talking about experience level, like, I mean, Deer has definitely impressed us with his skill, but he's also like a relatively new runner as far as I can tell, and definitely Sam was the more experienced runner, but Deer did manage to win the race and get the upset.
I mean, it's actually kind of crazy how good all the people have gotten that just like joined Skyward Sword with Randomizer. It's really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there's basically no free matchups, and welcome in, Deer. GG on that race.
GG's. Thank you. All I want to say is that I hate this game.
Oh no.
Don't we all?
That's it, basically. But I think I took some risks, like with the bit warp in the Fire Sanctuary, and it kinda worked out. So I'm happy I finished.
Yeah. Bit warp on Fire Sanctuary is definitely a good choice.
I wasn't sure if I should, but I'm like, yeah, whatever. So yeah.
I mean, I didn't do it and I regret it.
Really?
Pretty sure it would have been faster to do the bit warp.
Well, I had everything besides, I think, the Farron tablet, so I had to just go for it.
Yeah.
Why did Sam quit?
So Sam had some issues in the Skyloft trial because he got the third Song of the Hero piece a lot earlier than you did, so he decided to go for it. Had issues with the harp opening the trial, and then after opening the trial, he then died to a watcher near the very end of the trial, like after having almost all the tears, had to do it over again, and then it was a bottle on the trial, so he was so obviously that's really frustrating to spend all that time to get junk basically, and then his mental was kind of gone. He took a couple deaths in Fire Sanctuary, and after that he just gave up.
Yeah,
so.
I get that. Kinda sad. Well, so I'm up against Exodus, right?
Yep.
That kinda sucks because I already played the gym. Oh well.
Yeah, so
It's a challenge.
Exto is definitely a formidable opponent.
I would say so, yeah. Well,
Yeah. Jim and Exo is definitely scary.
Yeah, unfortunate group for you.
it's fine.
I mean, just beat them easy.
Easy, pretty. I mean, if I take some risks, maybe I can somehow clutch it out, but I don't think so. It's gonna be really hard to do it.
You can get lucky with stuff and maybe it works out.
Well, my best time is like 3 hours and 25 minutes, I think. So if Exto does it in 2 hours, I have to be really, really lucky.
I mean, personal best times don't really matter in Randomizer. Because
Yeah, but you
really
get
depends on the
you get like how good someone is.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like, Exto definitely has the raw mechanical skill at the game, and he definitely has that advantage. But he's also like relatively inexperienced with just the randomizer and rando in general. So like that's kind of the, if he's going to be beaten, it's because he's gonna get out routed.
Right. I'm gonna keep that in mind. I think he lost to Gymnast like for 2 minutes.
Yeah, that
So
race
just
was
1 minute.
extremely close. Like it was close to a minute between. It was basically a demise fight between them.
Well,
Yeah. So, other thoughts on the seed?
let's see. It was kind of weird because I had to like guess where the tablet is, and because I got the hook beetle, I was like, yeah, let's go to the fire node, and it wasn't there, so I had to basically guess between the Thunderhead and Sunsea. And it somehow worked.
And once again, trials, debated trials.
Oh, I didn't do them because my Wii remote was kinda dying, so I might had not been able to like do the songs to get in them basically, and that's why I skipped them.
Yeah, you saved yourself. That saved yourself.
That's good. I think I got the Mogma meats in Sunsea, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was Magma Mitts and then Hook Beetle like right in a row in Skipper's Retreat.
Yeah.
Well, I was lucky, I guess.
I mean, the good thing about that is that it saved the gamble of going back to Fire Sanctuary with just mids or Hook Beetle. I mean, I guess mids were required.
I mean, yeah, that was the gamble, so yeah. And I noticed that no one had finished, and basically decided to just risk what everyone most likely wasn't doing.
The metagaming.
Yeah. Because I think that Sam was the favorite in a race, so I had to take these decisions.
That's fair.
Alright, so that's my cue to take it away from you guys. We will have another match here, Harmyon versus Floha, in like, what, 30 minutes? It's close. It'll be here on ZSR2. But in the meantime, I'll send you guys over to ZSR4. They're doing Wind Waker Randomizer, and I never get to raid ZSR4, so I'm going to take my opportunity.
Nice.
Yeah, be sure to come back here in 20 minutes, and we'll have another one. Thanks so much.
Let's go.